Welcome to part 3 of the Happy Hour with Keverend. Today we are going to look at some of the middle section hymns or music for this, starting with James Taylor's Fire and Rain from the Sweet Baby James album. I'm adding another one that I meant to include but forgot to on my playlist, and that's Aretha Franklin's version of Bridge Over Troubled Waters. I think you'll enjoy that. It's a little different from the Simon and Garfunkel version, but this is one that has spoken to me over the years. And then we move from the hymn portion into the pastoral prayer portion, and there are 3 pieces that go with that. And the first one is Supertramp, Lord Is It Mine from Breakfast in America. John Prine's Hello in There from the John Prine album. And then Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper from On Flame with Rock and Roll. That is the pastoral prayer portion, and then we move into the anthem portion, and I've chosen 3 pieces for that. The Byrds' Turn, 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 U2's Pride in the Name of Love on the Unforgettable Fire album, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven on the Stairway album. That will conclude our playlist for today. So to start off with James Taylor's, as a hymn, it's a longing and a desire for God's presence. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? Won't you help me take a stand? You've got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand, and I can't make it any other way. We move then to Aretha Franklin's piece, Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and her version of that. It's the theme starts out, don't trouble the waters. God's going to trouble the waters. And that's certainly an image that comes out of the African American gospel routine of the focus on God's presence and bringing about necessary change in life. The pastoral prayer portion, starting with Supertramp, Lord Is It Mine. I never wonder at the cruelty of this world, but it seems a time of sadness is a time to understand. Is it mine? Lord, is it mine? That particular song, I think, speaks to me at times when I struggle with my call and with the ministry, and it's a question of faith to be asking God, is it mine? Am I doing what you call me to do? The second piece on that is John Prine's Hello in There, which really is an anthem for older people, if you will. I reflect on that oftentimes when I'm making pastoral calls on people and visiting them, and from that the refrain goes, you know that old trees just grow stronger, old rivers grow wilder every day, old people just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say, hello in there, hello. And that, I think, is a reminder to us. One thing that has been a mark of my pastoral ministry has been visitation in the homes, and more recently with the COVID, making a number of phone calls pretty much on a daily basis or several times a week at least. And this sense that I'm always reminded we should not forget them. Claire Demeter, before she died, for many years would say, we've got to remember the older people. Well, she herself was in her early 90s when she would say that, and then as she moved into her mid and late 90s, I did not hear that anymore, but I kept thinking about we've got to remember the older people, and I hope that in the future that the church will not forget its older members and keep in touch with them. The final piece may seem as a strange piece for this. It's from Blue Oyster Cult, and that Don't Fear the Reaper. It is not a song about suicide, a pact of suicide, as some people have interpreted it. It is a song that reminds us that we have a choice in life. We have a choice to live our lives fully, or we can be in fear of life. And particularly these days, I think that message of accept the wholeness of life as it is, because it won't last forever. It is something that we're called to do every day, and to live life with abundance. And that's what I hear in the Don't Fear the Reaper album. It is a choice of ours to make. Then we move into the Byrds, and the anthem portion of this is starting with the Byrds, Turn, Turn, Turn. Ecclesiastes 3, 1-9. It's almost a complete verbatim of that particular text, but with an emphasis on peace and God's bringing about justice in this world. And so it's one that has spoken to me for many years, since I first heard it in the late 60s. U2, if there is one group that has a strong Christian religious theme throughout their music, it is U2, or U2. And U2 as a group, I learned recently, would always start their concerts by reading from the Psalms and Eugene Peterson's translation of the message. And they are a very spiritual, very Christian-oriented group, and that comes out in this particular piece of music when it focuses on Martin Luther King and his assassination on April 4th. And the refrain of that goes back to the whole notion of in the name of love. And then finally, one that has been at the top of the rock charts for decades. It is one of the rock anthems that has survived the test of time and is almost immortal in its impact, and that is Stairway to Heaven. Certainly the main character in this, a woman who tries to buy her way into heaven, we all know that is not the way to a strong relationship with God. And yet here is a story that in this particular piece of a woman that tries to do that, and the reminder for us as Christians that the relationship that we have with God is transparent and very much available to us at any time. Enjoy your music and enjoy this section, and we will resume next week with the fourth part of our series. Thank you.